we are idiots, and I think probably a lot of people listening are idiots. So tell us what a devotee is, and like I know nothing. Like
how would you define it?
How would you define it?
Yeah,
define it for us.
I think the devotee community and like the women that I interact with on in our devotee community, we have an attraction to individuals with disabilities. It could be a wide range of disabilities depending upon the devotee. Me personally, I'm mostly attracted to paraplegics and low-level quadriplegics, typically somebody who's in a manual chair. That's just what my attraction is. I think devotees have taken on different type of context and different definitions and everything based upon people's experiences. And, not to put anybody's different experiences down, because I'm sure that people have had horrible experiences before, but my interactions and my experiences with all of the other women that I talk to, it's not a fetish. It's not we are wanting to try to take advantage of somebody. It's nothing like that. And I'm also not like trying to jump just every dude in a wheelchair,
Right.
I don't know. When you walked in, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was like, I was
You and Richard.
bam. I was like, Julila, joking. Yeah. So, there's a lot of other character traits and things that I look for in a guy before I look to see if they're in a wheelchair. I mean, there's only so many guys in wheelchairs out there that, we can try to find.
Right. And
for better or for worse.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned that you say the women that I primarily interact with in your community. Do you ever interact with any male devotees, or do you know of any male devotees?
So the community that I'm in is mainly women devotees and then gay male devotees.
Okay. So
you're both pursuing men.
We're both pursuing men. Exactly. I guess that's a good way to put it. Yeah. No, I have not ever interacted with any like straight male devotees that go after women. And I think that is probably where the really like sick-minded some of those guys kind of come from. I've seen what some of these guys put on some of like the porn sites.
No,
kind of
yeah,
I don't look at porn.
That.
I don't ever go to those sites. Yeah. I don't know what we're talking about.
We
me neither.
Yeah, we found videos.
What's porn?
I mean, some of our videos have ended up on Pornhub before, and we're like, what is going on?
Clips from our videos.
Right.
Yeah. But I've always
it's our secret monetization platform.
And I think that's where devotees get the worst name. Is either very aggressive gay dudes, at least that's been my experience, is very, very aggressive gay dudes. And I think a lot of the girls that I know that are in wheelchairs, they get a lot of like the pervy creeps. And I think that's maybe where the lines are blurred, is where if someone is a pervy creep, you automatically go Devo. When they maybe not be. They just might be a pervy creep. That'd be like, hey, I'm doing a study for my class and writing a paper about paraplegics. Can you take a picture of your feet and text it to me over WhatsApp? No, I will not do that.
No.
I will not do that.
No.
Like there's a lot of, I'm in a lot of spinal cord injury groups, and inside of those groups, they'll be like, warning, unfriend this guy, careful from this person on Instagram, like watch out for this person, because like they'll pretend to be disabled, or they will be very pervy and very aggressive and overtly sexual. And I think that turns a lot of people off, because it's like, ew, gross, nasty, get that fucking freak away from me. Is it a devotee? Is it not? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. But I think that's where people automatically get this fiery rage inside of them. And I also think about like,
because like you said, it's not a fetish, but I think people think it is a fetish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's where people get mad about it, because they're like, I think even just women in general, they don't like to be objectified. Even guys, it's typically not as typical to feel like you're being objectified, but even guys, like you said, a lot of very aggressive gay dudes, if you've ever had a very aggressive gay guy hit on you, that I feel like I'm like, oh damn, I just got a little taste of what it's like to be objectified by someone. And it's like, I'm not just a piece of meat, bro.
But I mean, that happens in like any type of relationship or any type of go out to a bar, and like how many women are objectified just by like walking in with a low cut shirt on or something like that, you know?
Facts.
So I mean, it's like, I think with anything, you got a couple of bad apples out there that spoil the pack for everybody, which sucks. But in my experience, I mean, I've never run into any bad issues with it at all. Not to say that people haven't, because I'm sure people have.
When did you find out that you were a devotee, and when did you start identifying as that?
Yeah, so God, I told myself when I listen to podcasts, everybody always answers questions starting with, yeah, so, and I wasn't going to do that. And I've just done that twice now.
I didn't even notice. Did you notice? I didn't notice. I didn't notice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't notice.
Yeah. So didn't notice.
I remember in high school, like one of my very first days of high school, I pulled up on the bus and I saw a guy transferring out of his car. And I was just like, oh my God, what just happened there? And I just, something clicked in my head.
Super intrigued.
Yeah, I was super intrigued. Didn't really think anything of it. And then I was having like a slumber party with some girlfriends. I mean, I was a freshman in high school, we're just like little pillow fights and whatnot. And I mentioned his name and they were like, the guy in the wheelchair. And I was like, yeah, like what's wrong? But they just like took it in such a negative connotation.
Ableist
and
mindset is ableist. So,
right. I guess so. And so I just kind of didn't think anything of it. And then as the years went on, I started finding myself like I'd find a TV show with a guy in a wheelchair and be like, oh my God, I'm totally going to watch that show. And then I'd read a book with a guy in a wheelchair as one of the main characters. I'm like, oh my God, this is like totally, I'm like feeling different things that I don't normally feel when I'm just like reading another book or watching a different show. And so then I remember reading a book that like clearly explicitly said devotee. And I was like, what the fuck is that? So I started Googling and I found this message board site with these other women on there that kind of identified with the same things as me. And I started talking to them and I was like, oh, they have the same exact thoughts and feelings and everything else that I have. And so then I just started kind of learning from their experiences. I mean, I kept it hidden for a really long time. Like, I never told anybody for a really, really long time.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to keep it secret. Otherwise, you're going to get judged and labeled and ostracized. And, like, I've heard stories of people, both men and women, dating an able-bodied person. And then that able-bodied person reveals that they're a devotee. And that disabled person was like, oh, I don't want to be with someone who only likes me because I'm disabled. Like, fuck you. You only used me because I'm a cripple. Like, how dare you? And, like, break up with them. Which I don't think that's... I mean, I get it because you think... Like, as a disabled person, I think to myself, like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Like, how could you ever like that that's the worst thing that ever happened to me? And the other thing is, like, would you like me if I wasn't disabled? You know? It's like, so if you only like me for that reason, maybe you should go fuck yourself. But that's...
It's just such a small part of it.
Like, I understand personally that that's not the correct way of thinking, but I understand how people.
Do you think it would be kind of the same
way.
as if girls are like, well, I only date guys that are 6'1" and over, or like some shit like that? You know what I mean? Because like if you're dating a tall guy and then all of a sudden you're a guy who's like 6'5" or something, and you hear your girlfriend say something along the lines of like, oh, well, I would never date him. He's 5'10" or whatever. You're like, wait, so you only like me because I'm. If I was short, would you not like me? Blah, 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 blah.
Well, like, I mean, I think about my friend, I'm not going to name her name, but she only dates black guys. Like, exclusively, she's like, no white guys, only do black guys. But recently...
And have you ever tried to ask her why?
Well, no, because...
there's really not a reason.
I mean, it really
like,
doesn't... It doesn't matter.
Right.
But what I found interesting is, like, currently, she's dating... Well, he's not black, but he's not white either. He's some other ethnicity. Mm-hmm. But in my head, I'm like, wait a minute. I remember being rejected because you were like, oh, no, you're a white dude. Or like, and it was just very confusing. But I guess in the same way that like, yo, I like butts, like holla at some ass. You know what I mean? But if there was someone else that I was talking to who was like the complete perfect package as a woman, as a girl, and like didn't have a fat ass, I'd probably still go for it, you know, like, okay, whatever. Like, but that is who I'm generally going to pursue is dark hair, dark eyes, you know, big butt. Like, that's just what I'm into.
Yep.
But does that...
Big wheelchair.
Big wheelchair, yeah.
Let's not go back into that song again, guys.
she knows.
Let's not go back into that song again,
song?
guys.
It was like, I like big wheelchairs and I can't do it.
I don't even remember that. That's hilarious.
It was on an episode.
That's funny. Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. If you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right over here.